Welcome to another installment of the Mastercam studio at ProtoTek. This exclusive video series features the exceptional functionality found only within Mastercam, the #1 most widely used cam software in the world. Here's the topic of today's video.
Today we're going to talk about accelerated finishing. Now, accelerated finishing isn't being utilized in the market today, but I hopefully today can show you that you can cut potentially up to 80% of cycle time off of your operations by utilizing accelerated finishing. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what accelerated finishing is. So accelerated finishing or advanced finishing cutters are effectively a small diameter tool that provides a large effective cutting radius. The shapes that they come in are going to be barrel forms, taper forms, and lens forms. And each one of these shapes are going to give you a little bit different way to cut a part depending on the part geometry. They're available in solid carbide and indexable also, so you'll have to check your tooling vendor to see what they have available. So why use advanced finishing cutters? Well, you got 10, 20, 50, 100, etc. small cusp height by using a large effective radius. And what do I mean by this? So if we look at our next slide here, it shows that larger tool radiuses equal smaller scallops. Smaller scallop equals better surface finish quality. In this case here, we have a 1/2 inch diameter ball end mill and an 1/8 inch diameter ball end mill. The same step over, as you can see, the cusp pipes are a lot smaller. So where can this be utilized? So in a 3-axis machine, very limited. Maybe a part with a very slight taper that's almost flat, or maybe a part that has a pretty vertical wall. You may be able to utilize this with. So pretty narrow on the part geometry for this to work in a 3-axis machine. Now a 4th-axis machine will give you the ability to tilt your part to maybe a better angle for the tools. So it opens it up a little bit because we can index to an angle. And then 5-axis is the way to go. If you have a 5-axis machine, we certainly hope you start implementing this for finishing. This is 60 to 80% cycle time reduction, and a 5-axis machine can achieve all the angles we need to make this work. So let's go ahead and take a look on my screen how we program it. So on my screen here, I have a morph tool path. And the part on the screen here is a part that we actually cut in a Mastercam MAM 72. It's a full 5-axis machine, and this part here is the actual part that we cut. So today we'll be focusing just on this section here for our programming. So I have a morph tool path, a standard morph tool path. Now when we're looking at tool paths that'll work with this, in a 3-axis world, a waterline tool path would work. In a 5-axis, we go into our 5-axis tool paths. Mainly morph and parallel are gonna be your options here. So in this case, I have morph, and there's not a whole lot here to pick. It's a standard morph tool path that I set up here for these surfaces. Now, one of the main things here is going to be in the tool axis control. This is where these accelerated finishing tools need to be set correctly to work correctly. In this case here, I set my side tilt angle at -70 degrees, and I used surface with tilt. Now, one little secret here that I found on this specific project was if I followed the surface ISO direction, I got a lot smoother tool path. Everything else in the tool paths are going to be the same as you're used to, not a whole lot of change here. And if we go ahead and look at the tool path here, you're going to see a pretty straightforward cut with a little bit more transition that I made around this flange. So I have nice, even depth cuts going all the way down that morph surface. Now this is a pretty standard surface. You could have a little more complex surface and also use these tools with it also. So during our cuts on the Matsura, we found that this was pretty amazing. What we could step down and what we could achieve for surface finish. Right here we had a 20,000 step down. We even went up to 60, 80,000 step down and maintain a pretty good finish. So as you can see, if we can increase our step down, we can decrease our cycle time, and that's all that really matters in a machine shop these days. I actually have live video of this running in that Matsura. So let's go ahead and take a look at that video so you can see the motion of the tool. As you can see by the video, very nice motion and very quick to do that part. It's quite amazing, like I said previous. Almost an 80% cycle time reduction from taking a ball and mill and stepping down at 6 or 7 thousandths. Now we can step down 50, 60, 70 thousandths and achieve a finish that is good enough for our project. So I definitely hope if you have a multi-axis machine that you are utilizing this. Almost all of the tooling manufacturers today are grinding tools to do this. You just have to get a hold of them, and Mastercam is going to be one of the best to drive these tools by far. And I hope you take a look at our other YouTube videos we're creating out of the MasterLab, and we thank you for your time.